Men fail with women because of this. We're going to dive into this today. Now, can we get real for a moment? It seems like good relationships, juicy, delicious, healthy, happy relationships are the exception and not the rule, given the amount of divorces that happen for first marriages and the amount of divorces that happen for second and third marriages are at 65 to 75%. And the average relationship doesn't even go past a year or two. We certainly have a dynamic in the dating and relationship marketplace that's kind of dysfunctional in a way. And I think part of this dysfunction is reflection of the scripts that we've been told, or the scripts that have been handed down to us. What I mean by scripts, I mean programming, the stories that we've heard, all of the masculine and feminine and traditional narratives. And the problem with relationships today is that we need to go back to some traditional narrative as if somehow that's going to make us happier. And quite frankly, for the record, women 100 years ago weren't all that happy in relationship. They might have been supported by a man, but guess what? That oftentimes comes with a lot of control. But why do men fail women? I think part of it is because we've been indoctrinated with scripts. Be a man, don't show weakness, confidence gets the girl. You have to impress her. You need to court a woman. It's a man's responsibility to lead the relationship, and men are solely there to be provider protectors, and the list goes on and on. And quite frankly, women have their own scripts too. And I'm going to say those scripts oftentimes are centered around the objectification of women based on beauty, based on attraction, and based on a lot of expectation of how a woman is supposed to support her man. Can we get real for a moment when it comes to men? Men aren't perfect. And what's worse is for the midlife demographic, humans are rather wounded from their past and have done very little work to heal these wounds. And yet men must adhere to these scripts. Men must be confident. I've heard this from women over and over and over again, that men, I'm not attracted to a man who shows weakness. I'm not attracted to a man who's struggling right now. You see, dating is more about showing up as the ambassador of your best self rather than your authentic self, rather than those messy parts of who we are. And the majority of men and women who are single in the dating marketplace are wounded. Look, we have to get real for a moment. I want to get really real here. Sure, there's the exceptions to the rule. There's the millionaires. There's the successful, that high quality guy. But I want to reflect not the people who are married right now. I'm talking about in the pool of over 45 who are single in the dating marketplace. First off, I just want to address one thing when it comes to money. Do you know that the average American makes 80% Americans make less than $125,000 a year annually, That's 80% of Americans. Do you know 80% of Americans don't have 1 year's savings in the bank should they lose their job? It's really that high quality, that guy that makes over $250,000 a year is a small percent, or woman who makes over $250,000 a year is a small percentage. And yet we have these scripts that we must be the provider protector to take care of you. Now, there's nothing wrong with that script, but the reality is a lot of people in midlife are struggling on a financial level. And let's not even get to the emotional level where people are struggling. Do you know the average person has had 5 relationships lasting 3 or 4 months or longer? And imagine a couple of those included a marriage in there. Some people, they're widowed or widowers, and there's an emotional trauma that occurs, particularly for the divorce demographic, which roughly represents 75% of people in the dating marketplace are divorced. And folks, you've heard me say this before, divorce comes with it the unraveling of the tapestry of our life with another person. And there's an emotional unraveling that oftentimes people don't address after divorce. What they do is they think the next person they're going to meet is going to save them. The next person they're going to meet is going to heal them. And because of that, we have this false narrative and these expectations, as I say, showing up as the ambassador of your best self. And I can speak from personal experience here. For those of you that followed my channel for a long time, you know, in the beginning, after my divorce over, roughly 17, 18 years ago, now I can't even remember. I was an emotional train wreck in the dating marketplace. I was a mess. And yet I thought if I found the right woman, everything would work out. Everything would work out. And what I've realized now that until we do inner work, until we work on ourselves, it's going to be problematic. Particularly this notion that somehow we're going to be happier in relationship. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to address this. You know, if it seems to me there's a significant percentage of people who are miserable in a relationship, and there's a significant percentage of people who are unhappy being single, but there's also a significant percentage of people that are happy in their life because they're happy within themselves. And they don't need a relationship to be happy, but rarely do people get there. Rarely do they do the inner work to get to that place, whether you're a man or a woman. And when it comes to relationships, I think it is time to approach it completely differently. Online dating has bastardized the meeting process. Online dating has created a telemarketing version of meeting people and not really a heart-centered way of meeting people. And it first starts with intention. You see, even though men and women are hurting, I think it's important to have compassion for them and to understand the reason why men fail with women predominantly is that they haven't done the inner work to heal their past experiences. And more importantly, they haven't done the personal development work, the communication skills to actually articulate their emotions and feelings in a way that can be seen, heard, and understood. And ladies, let me just be clear about something. You're no picnic either. Just because you have a propensity to vomit emotions in a way that's so incoherent to us men doesn't mean you're any better at it. Human beings are rather terrible at communication. If you haven't read the book, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, I highly recommend reading this. Why? Because ladies, you're no different. Men are bad at this. Women are bad at this. We are poor at identifying what emotions are oftentimes going on, what's going on internally, and then finding out what the need is represented from that emotion, and then asking for your needs in a non-violent way. The reason why it's called nonviolent communication, by the way, the book should have been titled Compassionate Communication. Oh, by the way, the books I recommend are going to be listed below in the Jonathan Recommend Books section. Okay, but why I'm talking about this book should have been called Compassionate Communication, because believe it or not, we oftentimes communicate in a combative way, in a victim consciousness way. And men and women fail at relationships because of this. But I'm here speaking to the guys right now. For any man that's watching this, look, it's time to step up. You have to decide, do you want a life partner? Instead of a woman that you're going to use for comfort or a woman you're going to use as a therapist. It's showing up with real intention. It is time to shift the way we date. It's time for intentional dating. Intentional dating. And particularly for those that use an online dating service, it's like, look, I'm not here to mess around. Okay, I'm on here to find a life partner. Be radically upfront about that. And guys, it's time to be committed to commitment. It's time to be committed to commitment. And if you're using an online medium, then use intentional dating. And look, and here's where it gets tricky. And this is the really challenging part. What if your life is a little bit of a mess right now? What if it's a little bit of a mess? What if the ground underneath you isn't very solid, whether you're a man or woman? You see, remember I said earlier, we have to show up as the ambassador of our best selves? Well, when we show up as the ambassador of our best self, we're not really getting to know that person of what's really going on in their heart. And the fact of the matter is we have a population of humans that want companionship, connection, and sex. But a relationship is so much more than that. A relationship is beyond that. A relationship is about really getting to open your heart, to be vulnerable to another human being. That's the whole point of relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's family and romantic relationships. That's the whole point. And if we hide ourselves from the very beginning, then we could be setting ourselves up for failure. And I'm going to tell you, remember I said earlier, I think online dating has bastardized the meeting process. It's because it's become a search. It's become a telemarketing. And what I mean by telemarketing is swiping. It's like one telephone number after a telephone number after another. You know how telemarketers, they're dialing for dollars. You know, they're dialing for one person, the next. I think the searching process has ruined online date, or has ruined the way we meet, the way we connect. And now it's communication overload, it's system overload. It's so much noise. It's so much noise that we're not slowing down. And I'm going to share a story in a little bit to go. Hey, it's 11:11 right now. I'm going to share a story around that. So instead of searching for a person, it's time to get committed to commitment. This is speaking to the ladies out there, but to the men out there as well. I'm inviting you to step up and say, okay, I want a life partner. You know, I know when I was in my 20s, I was raised with that script. It was go to college, get a job, meet a girl, get married, buy a house, start a family. I followed a script. I was looking for a wife. I was looking for the mother of my children. That was the script. For those of us in midlife, we don't have that same script. It's like, well, I just want companionship. I want connection. I want sex, but it's not in the context of, there's no purpose to the relationship other than spending time with one another. And men, you guys fail women because what you're doing is haphazardly in the dating process without any direction other than you just want to have a good time. And that's the big problem for men and women alike. They're hyper focused on just having a good time without the real understanding of the mechanics to a healthy, happy relationship. Because more importantly, a relationship is about building trust with one another. Building trust with one another, knowing that this person has your back. And when you say the words, I love you to someone, I believe it should reflect the following. It should be, I'm here. You matter. We are important. I've got your back. I'm not going anywhere and I only want you. But today we throw out I love yous from a place of insecurity. And remember I said earlier, you men oftentimes use women as your therapist. You're dumping on somebody else. And women, by the way, this is where women fail because they think a man is being emotional when he's sharing his problems. And to women, that's music to their ears to some degree because they think that man is emoting eliciting emotions when it's all his problems. And by the way, this is where, guys, I'm to the men that are watching this, it's time to step up too. I think it's time for an overhaul. And instead of searching, I'm inviting everyone to allow a relationship into their life, to do the inner work, to do the self-love work, just like in my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, Spiritual Work. There's a link below to get a copy of my book, okay? Is to do the inner work. And then I'm inviting everyone to manifest a life partner. So I want to share a post I did on my YouTube channel. And it's my manifesto to the woman. And I'm going to read it slowly. You can go back and rewind this and copy it down, but I'm inviting you all to create a manifesto for the woman or man in your life. In other words, for the men watching, it's the woman, for the women watching, it's the men. But I want to read you my personal manifesto. And the idea of doing this is to create that energetic shift within you so you don't have to go searching for it. I'm inviting you to allow it to come into your life. And believe it or not, amazing people come into your life every day. A lot of times we're blind to it because we're so wrapped up in our devices and other things that we don't see the wonderful, beautiful people right in front of us every day. So I want to read you my manifesto for my woman, my partner, my soul-aligned love. I'm calling in the one who sees me, not just the polished parts, not just the wise guide or the playful flirt, but the man who has bled, rebuilt, and still believe in love's magic. I call in the woman who meets life with fire in her belly and the softness in her touch. A woman who's done the inner work, not to be perfect, but to be present. She's not here to save me. She's not here to fix me. She's not here to walk with me. She's not here to fix me. She's here to walk with me hand in hand, soul to soul, lovers, friends, allies, playmates, witness to each other's becoming. We don't need to wear masks or run marketing campaigns to be loved. We show up raw, real, and honest, even the messy parts in the middle. She brings the gifts I don't. Intuition where I overthink, flow where I push, structure where I'm scattered. I meet her with heart, with truth, with devotion, with reverence. Together we create something that isn't just love, it's legacy. Not for status, not for followers, but because the world needs more examples of love that is whole. I'm ready for the next evolution, not because I have it all figured out, but because I've made space in my heart, my home, my life, for the kind of partnership that elevates that darn room. So come, my beloved, I'll meet you with open arms. We've got lifetimes of laughter, healing, and mischief ahead. Many of you might have read it on my YouTube channel where I posted it the other day. I share this with you because I'm inviting you all to create your manifesto, your mantra, your mission statement of what you desire. Put a call out to the universe. Have you ever noticed in your life when you've asked, have you ever heard the phrase, ask and it is given? Have you ever heard the phrase mission statement? Have you ever heard the phrase prayer? Have you ever heard the phrase affirmation? When I say phrase, the words, I mean. These are all invocations to inviting in what you want in your life. I think it's time to stop searching and start allowing. Breathe that in. Breathe that in for this moment. Just breathe that in. I'm allowing a life partner in my life because I am committed to commitment. I am committed to an intentional way. And I'm also committed to even showing the messy parts of me very early on. My inner 6-year-old, that part that's a little bit scared, that part that wants to be nurtured, wants to be loved. It's okay. There are people out there that can step up. I know it's difficult. You have to search through. It feels like looking for a needle in the haystack. Well, I'm inviting you not to look for a needle in the haystack. I'm inviting you to become the electromagnet to draw it to you. And you can do that by writing your own manifesto to the love of your life. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. Folks, men fail with women because we're not perfect. I think we have too much expectation of such reverence, such quality, such confidence. Men are just human beings doing the best they can. I've often said that most men are good guys. They're just bad daters. And I've also said men are clueless. Okay? This is why, you ladies, you are in charge of your relationship destiny. Don't give that up to a man. And I think intentional dating starts by leading by example. And guess what? You can show any man you're about to go on a first date with this video. Show him this video and say, hey, what do you think of this? I want your opinion. If we're going to invest in each other, then I want your opinion. I'm just throwing that out there as a suggestion. Hey, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, I help women that are currently in relationships solve their relationship issues. If you're single and looking for love, I can teach you discernment. All the links below. Schedule a discovery call with me. Follow me on Instagram. Get the books I recommend, and even get my dating vows, which I'll share with everybody later in this broadcast. All right, those that know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, There's a little chat box in the corner. Write the word question and then post the question there after. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him right there in the Obey shirt. He's my son who passed away almost 7 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process, Insight Institute, and scholarships to coaching as well. And our goal tonight is $50. And guess who got us started? Debbie. What a love bunny. You are such a love bunny, Debbie. Thank you so much for the love. All right. Before we take questions, I have a personal share. This personal share is about changing your perspective on life and love, changing your perspective on life and love. So I have a little story to tell you. This is going to take me a few minutes, so bear with me. Some of you know I recently went on a spiritual retreat, Less the Medicine, with a group of people. We went camping up in the Angeles Forest, which is about 70 miles from where I live, past up in the mountains in Los Angeles. And I want to be candid with you. I really don't like camping. I really don't like it. I mean, I get nervous just being in that environment, being around snakes, that sort of thing, worried about bears, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I'm going to push past my comfort zone and go. And I packed up, it was a 4-day event, 3 nights, 4 days. And I packed up and I got in the car, put my GPS in. And for some reason, my Bluetooth on my phone wasn't connecting to my car. My Bluetooth wasn't connecting to my car. And I'm like turning it on, turning it off, turning it on, turning it off. I'm like, why isn't this working? I spent about 10 minutes, dicking around with this. I was a little bit frustrated. And what's interesting is I said, okay, screw, and I didn't get to listen to my music in the car and the navigation. I don't have one of those things you could magnetize, put up for your phone. So I put it in the cup holder. And I'm like, oh, and I left about 10 minutes later than I wanted to leave. I'm like, no big deal, but I'm kind of aggravated. So I'm driving to the freeway and I pull off the side of the road again. And I try again. Turn it on, turn it off, do this or that, because I wanted it connected. And now I'm about 20 minutes later than I originally wanted to leave the house. And as I got back in the car to get on the freeway, I go, God, is this delay going to either cause me an accident? Am I going to be involved in an accident? Or am I avoiding an accident? I kind of think about that way. Like, like if you miss a plane, was that the plane that was going to crash, or that plane, like if you got off of a plane for some reason, was that the one that's going to crash? I have that kind of, warped mind in that way. So as I'm driving up the mountain, all of a sudden internet service goes out and there's no cell service. So I'm like, I have no way of contacting the group, but for some reason, my Google Maps was working. It was still driving me along, and I had written notes on where to turn. And you go up this 1-lane highway, and then I turn left, and then now I'm on a dirt road. And there's no signs to where I'm going. There's no signs. And I'm like, God, that's kind of weird. And I'm going up and down this dirt road and there's nobody, absolutely no cars, no nothing, no people. I'm in the mountains. It's kind of like, and fortunately it was like 2 p.m. So it wasn't evening. And now I've driven for like 5 or 6 miles on this dirt road. And I'm like, I think I'm in the wrong place, even though the GPS has me going this way. I'm like, there's no way this is where I'm supposed to be. And I literally was thinking to myself, shit, if I'm lost, I can't call anyone. I don't know what to do. And I'm like ready to turn around and drive back home. And then as I'm driving up, and it's a 1-lane road, another car comes towards me and we kind of swerve a little bit. And I honked my horn. I said, hey, are you going to the Primal Fire event? And he goes, no. He goes, what's that? And I go, well, I'm going to a spiritual retreat. I go, I'm lost. I go, can you help? Do you have cell service? Can you help me? And he goes, no. And I go, are you familiar with this area? And this guy, by the way, was dressed in nice slacks, button-down shirt. He just took a day off work and decided to take a trip up in the mountains for sightseeing. He was just, like a impromptu last-minute kind of thing. And he goes, well, let's see if I can. I said, can you help me? And he goes, sure, I'll try to help you. So we drove over to a campsite that was going back the way I came. And there was no signs there. I thought maybe I missed the sign. And then he goes, look, we stopped. And then he goes, look, we'll go to the visitor center, which is a couple miles down the road. And we drove over to the visitor center. We pulled over. There's no ranger there or anything. There's just this big, gigantic bulletin board. And he looks at the bulletin board and he goes, oh, there's the campsite. I go, really? I'm looking at this and I wouldn't have seen it. He found it immediately. He goes, yeah, it's just a mile down the road. So I said, look, will you drive me there? Because I'm feeling a little uneasy. I'm kind of I don't have my bearings and whatnot. He goes, sure. And he drives me there. And sure enough, there are the balloons and the sign and everything. Found the campground. Why am I sharing this story? Because I was looking at leaving late as bad luck. I was looking at it negatively. I was looking at it as if something went wrong. And there's this saying, good luck, bad luck, I don't know. Honestly, if I didn't leave 20 minutes later, I never would have ran into him. It would have been, he would have been somewhere else. Talk about misfortune. And by the way, I was aggravated the whole drive up. All I could think about was the Bluetooth didn't work. The Bluetooth didn't work. I kept pressing the button. So good luck, bad luck. Oftentimes when we look at things that happen in our life that didn't go the way we planned, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a relationship that didn't work out, whether it's something in our professional life, believe it or not, I do believe that misfortune can actually be an opportunity for fortune. Now, hey, listen, I can't say that definitively, but all I know in this particular case, thank God my Bluetooth didn't work. Now, here's the funny part. The minute I got in the car to go home, it worked right away. Talk about synchronicity here. So I want to share more about this camping trip because I learned a lot, and I'm going to put on my one of the souvenirs they gave me, which was a shark's tooth. And I want to share with you something else that happened. Two big things happened that I want to share with everybody that I think would be of value to everybody. And that is, here, let's fix that. Okay. And that is, oops. Okay. So the first day, we get together, we do a campfire, we share what's in our heart. So there were 20 people and each person gets about 10 minutes to share what's in their heart, or like 5 minutes to share what's in their heart. And, I tell the story about what happened and everyone was like, oh yeah, good luck, bad luck, I don't know. And everybody shared. And there was this one gentleman who shared, he's in deep pain. He is in deep pain. He doesn't want to live anymore. He's in that kind of pain. He doesn't want to live anymore. Oops, I'm totally screwing this up. I want it to be shorter, not longer. Anyway, well, you guys get the gist of it. There's other people, they're going through a breakup. They're going through a lot of emotional stuff. Some people had good stuff in their lives. And as I'm listening to everybody share, I'm recognizing that each person share is a little bit about me. And it's comforting to be around a group to share from their heart. And as we're sharing from our heart, we cook on a bonfire that night. And the next morning we have some exercises like trust falls and a trust walk and an affirmation exercise and a law of attraction type exercise. And honestly, I didn't sleep well the night before. I had hemorrhoids. I was just in a bad mood that Saturday. I just didn't even want to be there. And I was kind of miserable and I slept on the floor, on the ground, and I'm just not feeling well. It's cold, stuff like that. And I wake up the next morning going, I want to leave. I want to leave. And so I decide I'm going to drive home. I'm just not feeling good. I'm not feeling up to it. I'm anxious. I'm angry. I'm just like, I'm miserable. I don't have access to the internet. I'm internally, outside I wasn't showing this, but internally I'm like, I just want to get the fuck out of here. I'm miserable. I want to be home to play on my phone, to play my games, all that kind of stuff. And you would think I'd be happy to be unplugged. But in that moment, I was really going through a lot of angst. So I woke up the next morning and I told the facilitator that I'm going to want to go home. And he got kind of upset with me and he goes, look, if you go home, you're not invited back next year. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, if you go home, then another person goes home. It just starts setting a precedent. And I said, okay, I'll stay till the next day. I was going to leave early anyway, the next day, or after the opening circle in the morning, the next day. And so now it's afternoon. Inside, I'm still kind of miserable. I'm now miserable that, I'm having to, like I not that he guilted me to stay, but I felt guilty to leave. And I recognize I made a commitment. I paid for this, but I wasn't having a good time because I was going through a lot of emotional stuff. And so then right after lunch, they did a board exercise where you had to do a karate punch exercise through a wooden board, about a 1 foot by about a 1.5 foot by 1.5 foot board, roughly. Have you ever seen that on TV? You karate punch through a board. And he spends about 15, 20 minutes explaining how to do it. We all practiced in the air. And I thought, okay, I can do this, And I was like, okay, I can do this. Not that I was excited about doing it, but I knew I could do it. And there, by the way, in the group, there were a lot. There was 15, 16 of us that did it. Like it was mostly women. There were some women in their 80s and 70s and little tiny women and big. There was this one big guy. And the big guy goes first. He's like 35 years old, buff. I mean, he had muscles and he just plows right through it. And we're like, yay, we're happy for you. And then the next person was a woman, probably in her 50 years old, and she plows right through it. And then the next person, they plow right through it. And then that one woman goes up and she just kind of hits it and it doesn't break. So they say to her, hey, listen, you can go around and when everybody finishes, you can do it again. And, you'll do it. Don't worry about it. So now I go next and I'm like, I've got this. And so when you're setting up, I realized, so when I went to go set up, I wasn't focused. And when I went to go punch, I hit it with my fingers and it was like I slapped it and it fucking hurt. I didn't break the board. It fucking hurt. Now I'm embarrassed. Now I'm like inside the inner voice inside of me. You're a loser. You can't do anything. And then I was radically embarrassed because I'm 6'2". I'm 210 pounds. I'm I could be a football player kind of guy. And then the next woman that went up was an 80-year-old woman, couldn't have been more than 100 pounds dripping wet. And she plows right through it. And now the inner voice was just going berserk. I was so angry. I was so ashamed. I was so embarrassed. I was like, the way I beat myself internally was, inside, I'm like, I fucking want to go home. I want to get out of here. So then then the next person, then finally they're like, Jonathan, you can do it again. I'm like, no, I don't feel like doing it. They're like, come on, Jonathan, you can do it. I'm like, no, I don't feel like doing it. They're like, come on, Jonathan, you can do it. I'm like, look, I want to honor. I don't want to do this. Leave me alone. And then one other person said again, I said, fuck it. Okay, I'll do it. What I realized the first time was I wasn't as focused as I thought I was. As much as I thought I could do it, I really didn't pay attention to really being focused on hitting with this part. And so I set up and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. And finally, I'm like, okay, just let it loose, whatever is going to happen. And guess what? Dun, dun, dun. I broke the piece of wood. By the way, look how thick that is. Look how thick that is, okay? By the way, can you read what it says there? Can you read what it says? When you want to give up, do it again. When you want to give up, do it again. What I realized, and by the way, what was interesting afterwards, all of a sudden I'm actually in a good mood. I realized that life is really a series of challenges. Life is a series of overcoming our fears, our insecurities, our negative patterns, our limiting beliefs. We have this fantasy that life is the pursuit of happiness, that life should always be happy. This is a fantasy. It's not about the pursuit of happiness. It's about the pursuit of inner peace. Did you hear me talking about the turmoil that was going on inside me, the way I was beating myself up? Did you hear me talking about that? It's not about the pursuit of happiness. It's about the pursuit of inner peace. And we do more to crucify ourselves, emotionally speaking, than any other person does. We beat ourselves, we flog ourselves, we crucify ourselves. And yet we have a choice. We can face those challenges. We can face it with fear and insecurity, like I was doing, or we can just step up. And if it doesn't work out, if you want to give up, I'm just going to say, try again. And this includes our love lives. I know many of you feel like you've given up on your love life. You feel like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I get it. I've been there. I get it. But I want you to know, love is a risk, but it's still the best game in town. I sincerely believe that. And it's not about finding a mate to be happy. It's about finding that peace within yourself so you can flourish with another person. And yes, you have messy parts to you. And it's okay. We should stop being afraid of showing the messy parts of us. Here, I've been public with you all, showing the messy parts of who I am. Because guess what? Real love is appreciating it all, not just the ambassador of our best selves. So I want to share with you a final story. When I left this trip, I mean, the next morning I shared this. What I just shared with everybody, I shared in the next morning. And I want you to know something. Again, when you get the benefit of doing a group type of therapy and you get to hear everyone shares, you're going to realize that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. Everybody, we are all internally pretty close to one another. It's just a different story, but all emotionally, we all have fears, insecurities. That's why we all have messy parts. And it's those scripts that men and women have that fail us in relationship. But I learned another lesson on this trip. And and I'll be candid with you, I felt very bored. I felt very, like unhappy throughout the trip, but something that I didn't pay attention to happened on this trip. And as I drove down the mountain, and I finally, about 45 minutes, it took me about 45 minutes to get down the mountain, roughly 35, 40 minutes. And then all of a sudden I got cell service. And then all of a sudden the noise of my life came back. What's my next YouTube video? How's my YouTube doing? Do I have any leads for coaching? What's going on with my son? Is he okay? Is my sister okay? All the noise of life just flooded back to me. In fact, I wrote a blog about it, which I'll share with you right now. I said, this past weekend, I did something wildly out of character. I went camping. Yes, me, dirt, bugs, and no espresso machine in sight. I hate camping, but I went anyway with my spiritual tribe, sans the medicine. And shockingly, I'm grateful I did. For 3 rare days, peaceful days, the emotional static in my brain actually quieted down. My monkey mind, usually doing cartwheels over regrets, future plan, imagery, arguments, just chilled. I was present, calm, no fixing, no forcing, just being. And then I came home, boom, noise back on like someone had hit play on the Chaos soundtrack. That part sucked. But here's what struck me. Around the campfire, 19 people shared what was in their hearts: pain, fear, joy, self-doubt, even victim-y moments. And every single share, a reflection of something I felt too. I wasn't just witnessing them, I was seeing myself through them. And somehow that made everything feel a little less lonely. Here's the part that cracked my heart open. If I can hold compassion for them in their vulnerability, why not offer that same love to myself? If I can see beauty in their broken pieces, maybe mine aren't so bad. Maybe I'm not so unlovable. So no, I still hate camping, but connection, presence, and a reminder to love myself through the noise, totally worth the bug bites. Next time, let's do glamping. And so I share this with you all, is I want to have a different conversation with you all going forward. Listen, I know it's a clusterfuck out there in the dating marketplace. I know it's rather frustrating to experience a lot of disappointment. Just like the board breaking. Oh my God, the internal noise was beating me up. But you know what? And this is my invitation for all of you. Love, as I said earlier, is a risk, but it's still the best game in town. And I still hold hope for myself, and I hold hope for all of you. And I share this prayer for you and everyone that's watching this. God, universe, spirit, for everyone who's watching this, let's take a deep breath. God, universe, spirit, I invite in joy, love, peace, happiness, and overcoming our struggles through a romantic relationship. And the chemistry when we meet is off the charts, not from a lust and limerence place, but from a place of real connection, a real seeing the other person. And the communication between us is so amazing. And the banter can go on for hours and hours at a time. And the compatibility, because we can blend lives together, is effortless. And it's easy that we can blend our lives together. And we share the same values in life. And we can build the deep roots of trust that can carry us through those difficult moments because we are committed to commitment. We are committed to this journey. We want to be a witness to each other's lives. God, universe, spirit, I invite this in for myself and everyone watching. Can I get an amen? Did you find value in what I just shared? If you did, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call, join my group, follow me on Instagram, all that good stuff. Wynette says, thank you for the sharing the story. You're very welcome. Roller Girl says yes to glamping. I'm in agreement. Patricia says, amen. Roller Girl says, amen. Debbie says, amen. All right, I think this will be a great place to wrap up today. I'm going to end this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Debbie for the generous donation. I want to thank Roller Girl, Patricia, V.I. Simmons, everyone who commented. Thanks for the love. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful night. Be well. Thanks. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.